Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. This man, I tell you something. What I like to do with Wellness Wednesday is talk about wellness. And I think automatically we think about food, but it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's financial, it's physical. It's a number of areas. And what I love about the whole wellness arena is there is no end. You know, with most things, there's a beginning, a middle and an end. There is no end. You could go on and on and on. Anyway, listen, I digress. I'm talking to this gentleman. His name is Scott Harrison. You may have heard me talk about SPR, Six Pack Revolution. You may have even seen my before and after photos on my Instagram. You may have heard me say on the radio, oh, I'm not having no salt, no sugar, no carbs, no dairy, no alcohol. And it's because of this man here. Hello, Scott.
Hi.
How are you, Scott?
It's so nice to actually meet you in the flesh.
We've
spoken so many times.
Haven't we just? And I watch you on your videos and, you know, you probably listen to me.
I'm real. I still look like this.
All right. We're going to talk about the Six Pack Revolution and how it equates to wellness, but not just from a food and nutrition point of view. At some point, we're going to talk about mindset as well.
We are.
So, SPR. I'm going to tell you how I came across it. My producer at work came into work one day and he had this massive 2-litre bottle that he went out and filled up, and he was drinking 4 litres of water, and then he was having some cottage cheese and some blueberries with some desiccated coconut. Then he went upstairs and he went to the microwave, and then he was heating up turkey bolognese with spiralised courgette. And I'm like, what you doing? And he says, oh, Ange, I've just found this eating plan and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all right. And then a couple of weeks later, he came in and I went, have you lost weight? He was half the size. And he was a different person. And when he got to the end of the 75 days, people at work were coming, because he was quite a rounded guy. People were coming up to him and saying, is everything all right? Are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I just went on this eating plan, an exercise plan for 75 days, and it's changed my life. So I went, right, let me get on it. At the time, I'd been diagnosed pre-diabetic. And the first thing that my doctor did when I walked in, there were 3 prescriptions there. And I said, let me see if I can do this myself.
Well done.
And how glad am I? How glad am I? Scott, so let me ask you, what is the Six Pack Revolution?
So, the Six Pack Revolution is an online fitness, nutrition and personal development program where we try and get you to change your relationship with food, with drink, with yourself, and we tell you what to eat every day, what to drink every day, and how to think every day. And it's life-changing. And we get people results that would take most people 2 years in just 75 days. And that's physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that's why when you speak to anybody that's done it, they just go like, oh my God, this is like something different.
Yeah, yeah. How did it come about? Because you've not always been in the fitness game, have you?
No, I turned all this around at the age of 42. I'm 51 now. And
what were you doing before?
I had a double glazing company, which is nothing like this. and I kind of fell on this by accident, really. It was my journey to my own fitness that I was blogging on Facebook. It started off, and I've told this story so many times, I don't want to bore everyone with it.
No,
anyone who's watched me, they'll be bored to death.
Yeah, but somebody's seeing this for the first time. So.
I was in the playground and I was picking up the kids on a rare occasion. I was watching the parents, and they were pretty much all of them, give or take, overweight, bloated, poisoned looking. Some couldn't even walk properly. They were waddling. And the little kids were running out to their role models. And I was thinking, God, that's not very good, is it? And I realised that I was one of them.
Okay.
So I decided that day, that was in a December. So the January was going to be my New Year's resolution to get myself a 6-pack. I chose a visual goal because I wanted to be able to visualise it. I'm not into visualisation rather than, I'll lose a few pounds or whatever else. And I blogged it on Facebook. 36 people followed me and wanted to do it as well. And I said, look, I'm not messing around here. You're going to stick to the plan all the way through.
But where did you get the plan from?
Oh, I was just winging it at this point.
Okay.
So I was like, just right. I know I need to eat cleaner, so that's not too difficult. You can kind of work out. I was just mostly running and whipping some battle ropes and stuff. And then the results that came out of that, people couldn't believe what I'd posted of these results of these other people and myself. They were like, "How did that just happen in 70?" Back then it was 90-day program. Now it's 75. We get better results now in less time, but that's because I've learned more.
Mm.
And then everyone was begging me to do another one. So in the following September, I went, all right, I'll do another one. And 120 joined that one. It's not a business at this point. And then, cut a long story short, I realised I had a flair for keeping people on track and motivating them. I then became a PT. I got my psychology diploma. My wife's a nutritionist. I've got a great team of experts behind me. I've got a doctor of chiropractic, a psychotherapist, a GP who's an Iron Man. She's amazing. And a doctor of biochemistry. So I've got this ridiculously powerful world-class team that sit behind me if I need them. But because I built it up from the beginning, I pretty much know everything anyway.
Yeah.
For the program, and cut us 8 years on, we have got participants in 90 countries.
I know.
And tens of thousands every year changing their lives. It's quite a thing. And a lot of celebrities do it as well.
Well, when I look online and I see people in Malta and the outer skirts of America.
We've got Zambia. I mean, how has it reached Zambia? I've got no idea.
Because it works and it's good. So, six-pack revolution. We can get a six-pack.
You can, but it's not about that, really.
But, right. So, what is the six-pack?
I call that I've had a real battle with this name in my head, but it's such a big brand now. It's almost hard to change it because I feel that a lot of people might look at that and go, "Well, that's not for me because I'm not going for a six-pack." Although our biggest demographic is 35 to 65-year-old men and women with mum and dad bods.
Right.
So, and obviously we've got ladies of a 32 dress and that are a 6 dress because there's all different programs you can do with the program. It's not all fat loss if you don't want it to be. That's our most largest demographic.
Yeah.
But I always think to myself, if it wasn't called that, maybe there'd be more people would be drawn to it. So I called it a 6-pack of core values, really.
Okay, I like that.
So, fitness, nutrition, mindset, resilience, power, strength. And all of those things, the truth of the matter is, if you nutrify your body and nourish it, by default, you nutrify your mind.
Okay.
And when those two get together in perfect harmony, there is nothing you cannot, so that's poor English, isn't it? There isn't anything you cannot do. It's a very powerful partnership.
So we are what we eat.
100%.
Right. When I first went on this, when I first did the Zoom, and I'm going to be honest, I felt very, very deflated. I thought, okay, this is not for me. But my producer said, no, just do it. Just do it. Just stick to it. I said, yeah, but I like eating out. And I like getting a takeout and my kitchen's closed on a Friday and I just don't know if this is for me. What I realised was the cleaner I was eating, the healthier I was feeling, the better I was sleeping. I don't want to get too graphic, but the aroma when I went to the bathroom was not as strong, if there at all. The 3 litres of water, initially I thought this is crazy. When my urine was clearer, it really is a program of clean eating. Before we go into a lot of the recipes and, what it's about, how did you devise these eating plans?
So, the birth of the nutritional side comes from a Dr. Barry Sears in America, Sears.
Okay.
He created this I don't like calling it a diet, but I'm going to call it, called the Zone Diet.
Okay.
I've adapted it and I think I made it better. He wouldn't agree because he's got 30 years as a doctor. There's little old me who's come along. Yeah. But I made it better for us, the normal person, easy to understand, really simple to apply, rather than his is quite a little bit more complicated. So I simplified it, if you like. And he created this through years of study because his mum really suffered with inflammation. And most of our chronic illnesses come from inflammation in the body, which comes from what you eat.
Yeah.
So this is why we have so much success with all chronic illnesses: ME, MS, fibromyalgia, eczema, psoriasis, IBS, Crohn's, diabetes type 1 and 2. Hashimoto's, Guillain-Barré syndrome, probably never heard of that, have you?
No.
Lymphedema, lipedema, sleep apnea. I could go on for hours, either becoming a much more manageable or in complete remission.
Yeah.
I mean, last July, we had a lady, her GP undiagnosed ME and fibromyalgia because she didn't have it anymore at the end of the program. I didn't even know that was possible. So, yeah, you are what you eat. So take out the inflammation. And what I don't even use, the word I use a lot, you'll hear, is balance.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't clever. We eat a balanced plate of food, balanced throughout the day with hydration. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is just how the human body should be fed.
Yeah.
And when you feed it that way, it works.
What I did notice when I came off, when I finished the first wave and I started to pick again, I noticed my joints were different. I noticed running up the stairs, it felt different. I noticed when I got back in the gym, is it lactic acid?
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed little things and I'm going to say it for me, as the sugar crept back in, I noticed a difference. So I want to ask you, what is it about sugar? And I'm not just talking about the stuff that you put in tea. I'm talking about added sugar in food, especially processed foods. What is it about sugar?
God, that's a long one.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so we all know that I'll call it synthetic sugar because it's easier to rather than natural. So we all know that adds to that the calories are extremely high, and there's no nutrition in that type of sugar. So if you'll keep chucking in that calorific stuff, if you want to say, into your body that adds no value other than maybe the taste of it, if you like the taste of sugar, then if you think about that, that's okay if you're having it as a treat every now and again. But most people, it's for decades and decades. So imagine if you keep hitting something, right, nonstop, eventually it's going to break, isn't it?
Eventually,
you know? But we don't think of it like that because, it's just sugar. But constantly that constant hitting ourselves, damaging ourselves, that poisoning ourselves over year after year after year. And I know it's a little bit off piece, but it's valid. If you think about it, most people eat pretty poorly. Most of the time. Yeah. And then they'll get to a point where they feel a bit rubbish, and maybe on January the 1st, they'll go, right, I'm going to eat good.
Yeah.
And then they eat good and they feel better. And then they don't think about the health implications anymore because they feel a bit better. Mm-hmm. And then they go back to eating badly again. So their normal is bad.
Yes.
And I don't like using the word bad, but let's just use it with inverted commas. The normal is bad and the healthy is the treat.
Yeah.
We need to flip that script, whereas the normal is healthy and the treats are treats.
Yeah. When it comes to sugar, I found giving up white carbs initially really difficult. Coming from a Caribbean household, I'm at my mum's every Sunday. Rice and peas, macaroni, cheese, roast potatoes.
There's nothing wrong with potatoes, rice, or macaroni at all. But there are healthier grains or things like that, and healthier potatoes, like couscous and quinoa and stuff like that. Like quinoa's got like twice the protein of all of them, and it's got half the carbohydrates of all of them. Right. So don't forget, I've got 75 days to get everyone a result that would take most people 2 years. Yeah. So every little win I can make, even if it's like a gazillimeter, I'm going to take it because all of them add up to a nice big one. Mm-hmm. So rice isn't bad. Nor's white potato. In fact, the carbohydrates in white potato and sweet potato are exactly the same. But sweet potato's got a lot more nutritious and vitamins and stuff, like it's more nutritious. So, and also I like to make people try different stuff as well. So if I say that's off, but try this, then they're like, I love sweet potatoes. You know? And so on and so on. So I've never said that rice is bad or anything like that, or pasta. I just say for the 75 days, we can make more progress if we choose other options.
Okay. You say that white potato and sweet potato have got the same amount of carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. So I'm just asking, why isn't white potato on the plan?
because there's more nutrition in the sweet potato.
Okay.
So if you think about your body needs a certain amount of vitamins, minerals, botanicals, protein, carbs, fats, and et cetera, I can get the ones I've chosen are the ones that move us there faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are other eating plans that I have partaken in over a number of years, Scott. Some are just liquid. Some are variants of food that actually allow me to eat out. Some involve alcohol. There is one eating plan I was on. I could have a glass of wine a day. I could even have a cube of chocolate a day. What I found was you can't tell somebody like me have one glass of wine. You're mad. Yeah, 1 pint glass, yeah. But what I do notice is those eating plans, they do work. But I'm going to speak for myself. I found myself a casualty when I came off of those eating plans, and I actually found myself bigger
Then they didn't
than
work,
when
did
I
they?
first started. Now, and I'm not just saying this to massage your ego, even though I've done 6-pack and come off, I have put on a bit of weight, but I'm nowhere near where I was when I started, because I now actually cook with the 6-pack mantra. What is it about this plan that gets the results and is sustainable over other plans? And we can't mention them
I
because
won't mention. I know who
there's
you're
nobody
talking
here
about.
to
No, I know you're
represent
talking
them.
about.
So.
Well, first of all, I'm going to challenge the sentence where you said they do work. It depends what your definition of work means.
Okay.
If work means I lose some weight and I
Yeah.
put it all back on and get bigger afterwards,
No.
then I beg to differ.
Okay.
What about a program that not only brings off the weight, as you say, is sustainable to keep it off? You still live the best of both worlds. You can still have your drinks after and party twice a week, which is what you always hear me say. I'm going to teach you how to keep your results and party twice a week, which I do for everybody.
Right.
And also still be fit, healthy, vitality, feel that strength, feel that power come into you. That's what I call works. To go onto a program and you lose a couple of stone and then put it all back on again, that doesn't work
And
for
then
me.
some, yeah.
Because if it really worked, you wouldn't end up at the 6-pack revolution. You'd still be doing the one thing that
Okay.
works, right?
Okay.
So let me answer the question. What's different? I think a lot of reasons. One, as you say, they still allow the alcohol, they still allow the chocolate, which is the reason you were there in the first place.
Okay.
So they haven't dealt with the problem. They haven't changed your relationship with those things, with the alcohol and with the chocolate. Whereas on the 6-pack revolution, we don't have cheat days. And the reason is because it's easier without cheat days. If you have cheat days, as you said, one glass doesn't become one glass.
Absolutely.
Right? And then what will happen is the following week you go, right, I tell you what, I'll have 2 cheat days this week, so I've got some stuff on. Then next week I won't have any cheat days, and that will counteract the other.
It doesn't work. It
right?
doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. So the reason the 6-pack revolution works better than any other program on the planet and gets results better than any other program on the planet is, I believe, because we take you off the drugs.
That's harsh.
We keep you off alcohol's a drug, right? And sugar's probably the biggest drug in the world.
Yeah. That I would agree
It's
with.
the biggest killer in the world.
That I would agree with.
So if you come off of those things, get your power back. I hand you the key to happiness. Whether you use it all the time or not is up to you. But you then decide whether you want to eat this or want to eat that, rather than it deciding. You know what that means, right? Sometimes you sit there and think, I've done a packet of biscuits. I didn't even decide to do that. It just did it for me.
It's like something triggers. You know, I can remember yesterday I went out for lunch and it was great. I actually went to a restaurant. I had smashed avocado, I had poached eggs, and I had smoked salmon, and I felt fantastic. The person opposite me didn't have that, and she had some chips. She goes, "Do you want a chip?" I said, "Nope, I don't want a chip." "Go on, have a chip." I said, "I don't want a chip." And we had a really...
That's your relationship change I just told you about.
But we had a really, really good lunch. And then she goes, "Ange, there's a couple of chips left." I went, "Oh, go on, I'll have one." And I finished the chips. It was as if something in the back of my taste buds, I don't know, it's like something just kicked in and went, "There's the drugs. There's the drugs.
That's what drugs are. They
There's
make you
the
think you want them.
drugs." Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's all about changing that relationship. And that will only happen if you come off them. If you keep having them, you're going to keep wanting them. The body's like a child, right? I always say this to people. This is my analogy, yeah? If you keep giving something to a child, it's going to keep asking for it.
Of course.
When you take it away, it sulks.
Yes.
And that comes in the form of cravings or what you think hunger, but it's not. It's mostly cravings. Oh, I want it now because I can't have it. If you give it back, the kid's going to keep asking for it. But what does a kid do when you take it away and it realizes you're not going to give in?
Eventually.
Plays happily with what it's got, right?
Yeah.
So we take it away, you'll sulk for a bit in the middle, and then you'll just play happily with what you've got.
But deprivation, and I'm going to use that word without apology, it's something that I think plays with our minds. So I'm going to go back to a specific eating plan that I did do, whereby you could have 1 glass of wine. So you would savour that glass of wine. You telling me you can't, straight away I want it. And there's something you do just
That's
before.
the sulking child.
That's the sulk. Okay, all right. There's something as well that you put in place before the plan begins. And you've said this more than once. You say, don't go out and eat, don't go and eat out and drink, the day before the plan starts, because it's almost as though, it's just
the Last Supper.
There you go. It's that every time I watch that video, it's like, but isn't that what we want to do? Don't we?
Yeah, but I want to give. Well, isn't it weird that you don't even own yourself? This little glass of liquid that's made from food that's gone off, that's toxic and poisonous, owns you.
Scott, come on now.
Owns you more than you own yourself, right? So I'm trying to give you the power. But what I do promise, and I deliver every time, is that at the end of the program, I will teach you how to keep your results, and you can party twice a week if you wish.
All right.
So it's about taking the control back, because at the moment you don't have the control. The wine controls you.
Let's talk about alcohol. You call it poison. I said to you on the phone a couple of weeks ago, what is it about alcohol? Other eating plans allow you to have a glass of alcohol. And you said to me, would you walk into somebody's house?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this story.
Go on. Go for it.
First of all, let me make it clear.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to look right in your eyes. I love a pint of lager.
Woohoo!
The sun comes out, my head goes, lager. Right. So let me make that clear. But I can do that now and still maintain my health. And because I've got the best of both worlds, which is what I'm trying to teach everyone else. So the reason I call it drugs is, first of all, a lot of people, if you go to a bar, they'll say, "What's your poison?" That was the saying back in the day. I don't know if you know that. That was a really common saying. What's your poison? So I've asked you this question.
Yes.
We're going to do it for the point of the
I remember
camera.
I was driving and I was like,
Would you walk down the street, go into someone's house, close the door behind you, and take drugs in there? And your answer was, no, of course you wouldn't, right? So then I said to you, do you know what pub is short for? The word pub. And do you remember what I said?
public house.
Yes, public house. That's what pub stands for. It's a public house. So you walk down the street, you go into someone's house, and you take drugs. And you do it often.
Them.
And you pay them and you do it often. And we all do. I'm not saying I don't. I love going to a pub. It's my favourite pastime. But that's what we do. And if I said to you that you were going to take this wine by injecting it into your vein, would you do it? No. You're still putting it into your bloodstream, just going via a different route. Now, I'm not trying to completely say to everyone, would I want to be teetotal? Yeah, because I know what damage it does, but I enjoy it, right? So At the moment, I'm not there. And I'm not saying I'm the Messiah or holier than thou. I am a nightmare, right? So don't anyone think that I don't have a drink, because I do, especially when I go on holiday, all bets are off. But that's why I call it poison, because it is. But we poison ourselves with all sorts of things, and we enjoy the poison, and it has a grip on us. And it's just about getting that balance where you, again, I said to you, we want the balance of healthy and the treats are treats, rather than the bad. The treats are normal and the health is minimal.
I get it with nicotine. I so get that. But when you say it with alcohol, and then I suppose it is the same thing. I mean, look, if you look at the rise in kids that drink alcohol now, remember when Alco Pops first came about, and you can now get pink gin and all different flavours of gin and vodka, which allegedly have less calories than wine,
Vodka, yeah.
vodka.
Vodka is probably the lowest calorie spirit.
Is that one of the reasons why you think people do enjoy it?
No, I mean, my favourite spirit is vodka. Not
Okay.
because of its low calorie. I just don't like the taste of gin, which is flavoured vodka, by the way. Gin is just flavoured
Is it
vodka.
really?
Yeah, so I taught you something there.
Okay. See, I don't drink spirits.
No,
You see,
I'm mostly a beer, really.
I drink Prosecco and I drink rosé. And once someone actually said to me, you might as well just pour sugar in a glass, get a spoon. And
Well, the body has to burn the alcoholic calories first before anything else. So if you've all eaten loads of food, or whatever, that isn't being touched until the alcohol's burned off. So, and then there's obviously their empty calories, there's no nutrition at all.
Right, talk me through that again. So if I was to, let's say we finish this session now,
Okay.
go over the road, I have a glass of wine and then
Yeah.
I go, right, let's go for a run.
Mhm.
Are you telling me that alcohol's not going to burn off?
That will be first before you burn off any food you've eaten,
So does it kind of create a bit of a block?
kind of.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not a scientist, but this is the evidence is that when you drink your alcohol, you're not touching it. Let's say you've just had your poached avocado and whatever else.
Yeah.
That's not being touched until your alcohol's burnt.
And how long does it
calories.
take to burn off?
Everybody's different.
Okay.
You couldn't give a time. Yeah. Depends what you're doing as well.
And if every body's different and if every body
is different.
why does Six Pack get the results it gets? Because I still can't get my head around this. You post photos of day 1, day 20, day 45, day 75. And I look at this and I'm like, how is this happening? Everybody has, you just see the decrease. If every body is different, why does it work?
Because we're all still human. So we all still need a certain amount of as I said before, the fat, the carbs, the protein, the vitamins, the minerals for it to work at its optimum. And when it works at its optimum, it burns fuel efficiently, which is fat. Also builds and maintains muscle, your hair, your skin, the whites of your eyes, your teeth, your nails, your sleep. Everything all becomes more radiant. And the reason Six Pack outperforms all others is because you know the 80-20 rule. Everyone speaks 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. That's real common knowledge.
Okay.
I say 90-10, but let's go with the common knowledge, 80-20.
Right.
But every other program on the planet is a fitness program with nutritional advice.
Not everyone.
Well, unless you're talking about, I can't say the names.
No, because there's no one here.
Yeah,
Right,
but unless
so-
you're talking about just the ones that just work on diet.
Yeah, yes.
But all right, that's an eating program. Six Packs,
Oh, okay.
the whole
okay.
thing. But,
okay.
but if you're a whole thing, they're all fitness with some nutritional advice. Whereas Six Pack is a nutritional program with lots of fitness, but most importantly, the mindset as well.
Okay.
So if you've got to change your relationship with food and drink, and also just like look at life from a different perspective. But we'll talk about more of that stuff later.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what's different. It deals with not just tells you what to eat and drink, but it also deals with the head. And if that works, everything works.
Okay. You're very, very specific in your videos. If it's not on the plan, don't eat it. If it's, every berry, every, I don't know, chili flake, whatever.
Not quite, but yeah, I know what you mean. Stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. And I agree, because I know the first time I did it, oh my gosh. Because I wanted to really see if it did work. Wow, it does. You're very, very strict about sticking to the plan, and you're very, very adamant to stick to the plan. But sometimes life gets in the way, and sometimes we do need to go out. Sometimes there are events that we do need to go to. Are there alternatives? I know that on the eating plan, you've got like-for-like swaps, and I think that's really great. I have noticed now, can I mention Nando's? Is it Nando's you can go to? Have I seen this?
There is no real kitchen in the world that cannot make you a six-pack meal.
Okay.
So if you go to McDonald's, that's a bit different. I don't call that a real kitchen. That's that's a factory that just churns out stuff, right? So an actual kitchen that's got a chef in it, a real kitchen. So when we go out, I mean, I've been go out for 8 years. I'll look on the menu, and let's say there's a sea bass in a butter and caper sauce, and I'll say, can I have the sea bass? But can I just have mine grilled?
Yeah.
Big wedge of lemon, and I'll have the grilled vegetables with it, and so on. And then you've made yourself a 6-pack meal. There's nowhere that does. And I've done this for ages. And you can't even be embarrassed to ask the waitresses now or the waiters, because they are so used to people with intolerances for this and intolerances for that, and they're vegan or they're this.
Yeah,
and, can I change it? So actually, you'll probably be the easiest swap for anyone.
Yeah.
Just say, don't chuck the sauce on.
I remember doing a radio event in Dublin in the middle of 6-pack, and I remember staying at the hotel, and I said, I'm pre-diabetic, can I have? And they were like, for sure. People do like to accommodate, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Scott, we're going to talk as well about exercise. There was a statement you mentioned, we'll do that in the next episode, about exercise being the deposit for the future. I loved the way that you worded that. Is there anything that you'd like to add that we haven't covered in this episode when it comes to food, learning about your body, learning about food, and how and why this works versus other eating plans?
I would just say, always remember that what I'm actually teaching people is not a fad. It's not like, remove all the carbs, or intermittent fasting, where you're just eating the same stuff, but in a smaller window, so you can't eat as much. So therefore, it's a calorie deficit.
Yeah. I
did a video called Calorie Deficit Doesn't Work. It caused a big stir.
I bet it did.
And I'm not silly. I understand the law of thermodynamics, and I understand the energy in and energy out. But what people literally everywhere on socials, they just say, don't matter what you eat, calories in, calories out, that's it. And it's not true. And I've proven it probably the best part of 100,000 times now. So what you eat is really important. The calories is the smallest fraction of it. Yeah. In fact, the best way to lose fat is on the most calories possible.
Wow.
I'll explain myself. So let's say your maintenance calories per day was 2,500. Let's just say.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. I don't really focus on calories. I focus on health.
Yeah.
You would lose more fat on 2,000 calories a day than you would on 1,000 calories a day. Because on 1,000 calories a day, you're malnourishing yourself.
Okay.
So you are starving yourself to fat loss, which will then bring your metabolism down.
Yeah, okay.
I had one lady, she had 850 calories a day for 365 days. She lost a stone in a month. The next 11 months, she only lost 2 pounds. So if anyone tells you, and they call it starvation mode, it doesn't exist, they're lying. We'll call it that. You can call it what you like. But she'd malnourished herself. 11 months, she lost 2 pounds. All of her fell out. She couldn't remember what she'd done an hour earlier. Her body was breaking down. So if you are overweight, there's a good chance you've not been eating well for decades. If you haven't been eating well for decades, your metabolism is going to be low. The last thing you want to do is bring those calories through the floor and bring your metabolism lower. It's like kicking you in the head while you're down. So what we do on 6-pack is we bring you up past it instead of it down to you. And we bring up your metabolism, your balance, your strength, your power, your resilience, your mindset. And balance is a really good word, because if you eat in balance, then you balance your hormones, you balance your body, and also you actually have a balanced state of mind. One of the biggest things people say is my anxiety has disappeared.
Yeah.
I've got no anxiety anymore. How did you manage that?
Yeah.
And it's because our brain is a part of that body too. So when everything you eat, every cell in your body is fed through what goes through your mouth, right? Unless you're on a drip, right? In through your mouth. So your brain's a part of that as well. So the reason you can't handle stress, mourning, depression, grief, pressure, is because this isn't working properly.
Yeah.
We're built to handle all that stuff. And this is why you get like so many small amount of people that are successful in everything they do in life, is because they look after themselves.
Yeah.
They can still play, but they have the balance correct.
Yeah.
And when the going gets tough, they get going. They use life's obstacles as a reason to fight instead of an excuse to fall.
Ooh, hit me with that one again.
Use life's obstacles as a reason to fight and not an excuse to fall. It's one of my quotes.
I like that one.
Threw that one in.
Just before we round up, one of the things I could not get my head around was eating 6 times a day. 3 meals, 3 snacks, or 2 meals, 2 snacks, or 2 replacement shakes. I didn't take in the vegetarian or the vegan because I'm not vegetarian or vegan. Why do you have to eat so much? Why do you have to keep the body? Why do you have to eat so much?
Okay. So this is all about the metabolism, keeping it fired up.
Yeah.
And I use the analogy of a log burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want that log burner to burn fuel efficiently all day, you wouldn't put in the paper and the kindling and light it all up and wait and get the logs on and then wait for it all to fizzle out. Then go back and put the paper in and the kindling. That will burn efficiently forever. All you have to do is put a log on every now and again.
Yeah.
Just put the log on.
Yeah.
Just keep putting the log on. Yeah. And you'll find that most people at the beginning of the program say, Scott, I can't eat all this food.
Yeah.
And I say, eat it.
Yes, I know.
And then I say, because in 3 weeks, you're going to beg me for more. And in 3 weeks, everyone's going, me, I'm starving.
Yes. Yeah.
Because your body's now burning it.
Yeah.
And your body's not worrying, when's the next meal coming from? So it's going, those avatars that are in the kids, like Inside Out, there's a kids cartoon,
yes,
yeah?
Yes.
So that food's coming in, they know it's coming. So
Yeah.
they go, right, I'm going to put that to the brain, that to the heart, that to the...
Yes.
And then it's always coming. If you put it in and then intermittent fasting, I'm going to see it for another 16 hours. They're going like, hold on to that for dear life. I'm going to have a little bit of that, I'll put that there. So now I'm yeah, makes sense?
So every 2 hours.
2 to 4.
Well, I found myself taking a 12-hour, part of the day. And I feel quite blessed because I don't work full time. I'm required 4 till 7 at work. I had time to do the batch cooking. In the mornings. I do it Sundays and Wednesdays. I had time to do these things. I had time to go out and, go to the park and do the challenges. I had time. It is quite full on. We'll talk more about this in Mindset. It is a lot. But for that 75 days, if you can do it, it's great. But going back to the eating, I just found every 2 hours, I was putting something in my mouth. Or I was drinking some water, or it was just constant. About 3 weeks in, my stomach started singing. I found I was getting rumblings in my belly and I couldn't understand why. What is that about?
That's what I'm saying. You were burning the fuel now. So your metabolism's lifting. So you're now burning that fuel efficiently. And then what happens then, as you get hungry then, now this is the child sulking, I want more, you're not giving it to me.
Yeah.
And then it goes and plays with your fat stores. And that's why all of it come off.
Love it.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, anything else you want to talk about with regards to food? I think we've kind of done it.
We've done it well. We've done it well. I just want to, everyone has got to try and make themselves take a look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, if you want to live longer and you want to enjoy a longer life, it's really important. You've got to understand, we've only got one place to live in, and this is it.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep it. If this was your house, I'm sure some people live in a really untidy, dirty house, but you've got to keep it clean and tidy and repaint the walls and make sure that, it's all fresh and lovely forever. So remember, you've got nowhere else to live but here. So look after it.
I love that. Will you come back and talk about exercise?
I can't wait.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Check out Six Pack Revolution. Just go online and check it out. Go onto the website, look at the before and afters, but also look at the testimonials. Scott will be back next week. We're going to talk exercise, and I'm looking forward to this one.